Welcome back to Astrology, Angels, and More. I'm your host, Mary Silvernail, and tonight we have a very interesting guest that I'm going to be introducing after we talk about some of the special planetary aspects for this month, and you're really going to love her. You're going to find it very, very interesting. Now, you can watch our show on Sunday evenings at 7:30 and throughout the month on Spectrum, Channel 79, and FiOS 35, and of course on YouTube. So now, I just would like to wish all the Pisces out there a very happy birthday. Very, very happy birthday. Actually, let's see here. Happy birthday, Pisces. You know, I have a lot of Pisceans in my life, and they're the most sensitive, wonderful, intuitive people. And Pisces is the 12th sign of the zodiac, the final sign of the zodiac, with Neptune as its ruling planet. Pisces gemstones are turquoise, sugilite, amethyst, and covellite. The color of turquoise is associated with the sign of Pisces. Pisceans are highly intuitive, spiritual individuals. Many possess the gift of prophetic dreaming. I've met so many Pisceans that have that beautiful gift where they dream and then it ends up coming true. It happens. And they're also very dreamy, imaginative, creative, sensitive, and lovers of art and poetry. Now, I'd like to go on, though, to the special planetary aspects for March. So today is March the 13th, 2024. And a very happy birthday to Kirsten. She has appeared on the show before, and a friend of ours. And I'm wishing her a very happy birthday. Now, I'm very happy to report there's no retrograde planets for the month of March. So things are now beginning to move in the right direction, if you've been feeling that. However, we just got over the Pisces super new moon, and this Pisces super new moon, which is very close to the earth and jam-packed with big emotions and supercharged energies, we're still feeling some of the effects of this. This is the time to follow your intuition and manifest your desires. We're at a very pivotal point because we're already within the energies of the equinox, which is arriving on March 19th, that we'll be talking more about with our guest. The planets are aligned for abundance. Now, on March 19th at 11:06 p.m., we will be experiencing the spring equinox, which is the first day of spring and the first day in the astrological sign of Aries. So, and the ancients believed that that was really the beginning of the new year, even because of the spring equinox. And all astrological influences are magnified at that time. Now, March 25th, which is coming up, we have the Libra lunar eclipse, the full moon. It's all about relationships, all about relationships. We become keenly aware of our actions and the impact of those actions on others. By trying to keep everyone happy, we may lose sight of that everyone needs to do their fair share. So if you've been feeling as though you're the one that's been taking care of everything, maybe it's time to make an adjustment with that. But you have to be careful because you don't want to create any animosity or, you don't want others to feel overburdened themselves. Libra is all about balance, and this is the time to balance the scales in every area of your life. Jupiter in Taurus has everyone's interest at heart and adds a grounding quality to the arrangement relating to a solid foundation for the future. Plus, the moon trine Pluto, a tricky phase with matters being brought to a head. Look back for possible connections to what is happening now in your life regarding relationships and partnerships to the Libra solar eclipse of October 14th, 2023, and then even the Pisces blue moon of August 31st, 2023. This is finally the time to clear up any confusion. And empaths, be very aware this month. The energies are really flowing on a very deep level, more so than usual. And very harmonious, actually. So now let's see. We're going to talk about what's in the stars for Aries this month and the rest of the signs of the zodiac, and then I'll be introducing our interesting guest. You're going to love it. We're going to be talking about all kinds of astrological and astronomy things tonight. It's really very informative. You're just going to love it. Okay, so Aries. Your Aries energy is really in gear this month. Utilize your energies in a very productive manner, okay? And also, by the way, you might hear from somebody from your past. Taurus, your focus is on making money. Well, what else is new, right, Taurus? Okay, that's great. Just leave a little room for some fun. A little romantic weekend getaway can do wonders for you. Now, Gemini, let's see. What do we have here for Gemini? You're a shining star this month in both career and personal life. Don't float too far off the ground, though. You have to stay focused. So now, Cancer, you find very creative ways to make extra money. Short trips pay off greatly. And also, it would be nice to do a good deed and to be able to help someone who has helped you. You'll have that opportunity. Leo, oh boy, your feelings regarding a love relationship are changing. Allow yourself to get in touch with your inner knowing for answers through meditation. The answers will come. Virgo, everything finally comes to a head, Virgo. There's no more wavering. You just make that decision. Trust yourself. You're very insightful. Libra, beautiful Libras. Keep that upbeat, loving feeling flowing this month. You're noticed in the workplace by higher ups, and you really will be going places if you stay upbeat. Scorpio, focus on what makes you happy and brings a smile to your face, what you're passionate about. Release the melancholy and live your life. Now is not the time, though, for any real estate transactions in the month of March. Just wait a little bit. Now, Sag. Okay, Sagittarius. The universe is smiling on your love life. Make the most of it. Socialize, socialize, socialize. Go out, have some fun. You may just meet your soulmate under these wonderful stars for you, Sagittarius. Capricorn, you are the social butterfly this month. Be sure to get enough rest, though. Since your energy level is very low, take care of yourself. No one else will. Oh boy. Sometimes you overwork yourself, Capricorn. Aquarius, you're a completely different person than you were a year ago. You have evolved to a new heightened awareness. Now fly. It's your time. The last sign of the zodiac, Pisces. As I said before, happy, happy birthday, Pisces. Your month to shine, especially after the 10th. You have the clarity of thought to move quickly forward to beautiful new beginnings. but have faith. Don't let go of that faith, Pisces. Okay, so everything that I just talked about is from my horoscope column that I write every month. And so all I'm doing is just giving you that information that is already out there on different outlets. Anyway, so now without further ado, I'm going to introduce our wonderful guest tonight. This is the first time that she's been a guest on our show, and I'm very excited about it. And I'm going to be introducing Pat Brady. She's a wonderful astronomer.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, Pat, thank you for coming. So glad you did.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is a great time for us right now, right?
Absolutely.
As astrologers and astronomers, yeah. So, what do you have to report?
Well, I think the first thing that is on everyone's mind is this solar eclipse.
Yes.
So we'll talk a little bit about that. And what I want to do is basically tell you that eclipses, way back in time, the ancient astronomers, people who looked up at the heavens, would be amazed to see these certain phenomena, events happening. It's not until Johann Kepler came into power, not that he was a power king or anything, but he was an astrologer first,
Yes.
and he became an astronomer also.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the branch of astronomy and astrology started to separate. So the ancients believed that the moon and anything up in the heavens were created on velvet. They thought everything was flat. They thought everything was a disc. They did not have the equipment that we have today.
Right.
So what they did was they said, well, it's round, it's shiny, and they would draw imaginary things, mythology, stories, because if you're working for the king wants to know what's up there. They had to use their imagination and come up with stories, especially when it concerned the gods, because the king or the pope at that time would say, well, I'm a god.
Mm-hmm.
They thought they were gods. And
Yeah, they did.
mainly, well, tell me the story about where the heavens lead us. Where will I be going? Astrologers were very informative from just looking up at the sky, writing things down on tablets, and would tell the king stories. And we're going to talk about eclipses, but one of the most important things is we're in the northern hemisphere.
Mm-hmm.
So Polaris is our North Star.
Absolutely.
And years ago, many, many years ago, Polaris wasn't our North Star. And we go back maybe 23,000 years, and Polaris was there, but because of the Earth precessing, the former star, which was the North Star, was Thuban, and now it's Polaris, and over a course of maybe 8,000 years, it will be Vega or Vega in the constellation of Lyra.
Yeah.
So it's important to recognize things, especially if you are going across the ocean, and I'm sure if you've been on a cruise.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Basically, most people see the captain and they're just saying, oh, it's a great cruise, the water is nice, the climate is nice. But when I'm on a cruise and I see the captain, I ask him to talk about celestial navigation.
Yeah.
And now I have him, because that's what he wants to talk about.
Yeah, well, that's what they did before, right? That's how they were able to navigate.
Absolutely. So the different types of twilight, we have civil twilight, which the sun starts to go down, the shadows disappear, and the sky starts to get darker. Nautical twilight is when the constellations come up, and that's where the celestial navigation comes in, because even the captains have told me, I have to follow these constellations to the North Star if you're in the Northern Hemisphere. So all of a sudden, it gets darker and darker, and you have astronomical a sky where all the stars, everything, all the objects come out, and the constellations sort of blend. You can't find them. So these constellations that go around or circle Polaris are called circumpolar constellations.
Okay.
And we have North Star, we have the Big Dipper, which is visible in the north. We're in the north. And if you know which two stars that head to the north, it goes to Polaris. Big Dipper, Ursa Major, Little Dipper, Ursa Minor. So those are the two main stars. And also, the king always wanted to know, okay, I know about that. The stories were there. What's in it for me? Where am I going? What happens when I die? Where is my soul going? So the astrologers would say, well, there, up in the sky, near Polaris, circling Polaris, Cepheus, the king's house. Now, the king thought, oh, that's where my soul is going. They thought, the astrologers, that those stars were diamonds. And that's what the king wanted. He wanted jewels and gold.
All those diamonds.
He looked forward to it.
Wow.
So the stories of the king's house, Cepheus, were given to the king. And then the king would say, well, what about my wife? Where's the queen going? So the astrologers looked up and they would say, well, there's a W up there, and this is where Cassiopeia, the queen, is. That's your queen. That's where she's going. And the king bought it. He bought that story. So as long as he's with the king and queen, he's up there. And then we have Draco, the dragon, that circles Polaris. Those are the circumpolar constellations. And as we bring it down, and I can't spend too much time because time will fly by, we have our zodiac signs that we could go into, but the main event is the solar eclipse coming up.
Yeah.
Solar. So what does that mean? Well, for the regular person, me and you, we can look up if we have solar filters just for a few minutes, and we can actually see that it's not a disk. It's sort of an ellipse. It's not round, perfectly round, but it looks like a ball. I've seen it before, and I will see it again. But you need the solar glasses.
Yes, you do. Yeah, you don't want to take, a chance with that. That's not a good idea, right?
Well, only like Galileo would do something like that. He didn't know. But you can see this. There's going to be a tract of in our North America that we can see it.
Yes, there is. This is the Great American Eclipse that we're talking about here. Yes.
And I just wanted to mention that Johann Kepler was one of the first people that actually studied the eclipses. He figured out, he was a mathematician. He loved Capricorn. He loved numbers. He loved exact. He wanted to find out how close anything is, especially the moon, the object. He loved the moon, how fast it's going, and why were these eclipses happening. So he did his 3 laws, and one of them is an ellipse. And he found out that the moon sometimes is a little bit closer to the Earth,
Right.
and sometimes it's a little bit further away. So when it's at its closest part, you have a perigee. It's called a perigee. It's an astronomical term. It's used also terminology with astrology. This is a blend of something. And depending on where the moon is, if it's a little bit closer to the Earth, you're not going to see much of the sun. That moon is going to block out most of the sun.
Yeah, of course.
Now, in different seasons, it could be a little bit further away, and you have your annular eclipse, meaning you can see a lot of the sun because the moon sort of shrinks. So what we have coming up is just a basic, it's not too close or too far, but it will cover the sun. And if you have the opportunity to see it with the solar glasses, you will be able to see the photosphere, the chromosphere, and the corona. Those are the flares that emanate from the sun. So it's a remarkable event coming up, and let's just pray that there is not too many clouds around. We don't know. So far, so good, because the next one won't be until we'll be up there in the heavens.
Well, yeah. I mean, this only happens once every 4. The crisscross of the
Yep.
United States. That Brian, do you have that picture of the? There we go. There is the path of the April 8th that's coming up. And then there's also the other side of that X across the United States from August 21st, 2017. That was the first half of the Great American Eclipse. And it only happens like that, like every 400 years.
It's a phenomenon. It's a
it
very big
really-
event.
It's a very big event, and it's going to have a major effect. Thanks, Brian.
Well, I just want to say the path there, and Brian had it up. It
Yeah.
starts, Brian, if you could just put that up for a second, down at the Pacific Ocean, way down,
Right.
and it starts to come up. It hits Mexico first, okay, Mazatlan, Mexico, Torreon, and then it hits Texas, Dallas, okay, Rossville, Carbondale, Columbus, Ohio, Cleveland. So if you're around Cleveland, and actually Niagara Falls is one of the targets that it will be completely a darker dusk outside. And for us, we all say, wow. The animals get confused. The deer think it's time to retire. Thank you, Brian. And birds start to go in to rest for the night. So it'll keep going all the way up through to Canada. And hopefully we'll be able to see it. We're getting, even if you can't go up to Buffalo, over here they're saying about 90%,
Right.
95.
That's what-
It's okay. You're seeing most of it. It's okay.
You know what? I had given Brian a list of the times that, if you could just put it up for a moment, Brian, you know, where each time I gave you a list of that. There it is. Oh, can they see it? Oh, maybe not. Well, maybe if you just keep it up for a moment, and then anyone who would like to go up to the screen while you're watching the show and just take a snapshot of that with your cell phone, then you can go back and you can enlarge it and look. But that's the path of it and the times, the exact times that it'll be coming across the United States.
Well, I think
Thanks, Brian.
thank you, Brian. That's good.
Thanks.
Around 2 o'clock,
Yeah.
it'll start. So if you have a movie camera, a video camera, or a regular camera, digital, you can actually take snapshots of this event. But you have to be careful. You need the solar lens on it. If you don't have it, that sun will go right through the lens and burn out the inside of the camera. It could do it. It messes it up. So you have to get these filters.
Well, you're also a photographer, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
And, you need that, and you need it for your eyes. You're looking down at the camera, you're looking up at the camera. That sunlight is being magnified, so you don't want to damage your eyes. So around 2 o'clock or so, it'll start. If you put the video camera on, you just press play record, you have it on a tripod, and you'll actually be able to film it if you have the solar lens on it. If you have those glasses that have the lenses on there, wait till it's almost complete. Take a look at it. It's not a disc. It's round. It looks like a tennis ball. It's unbelievable. It has fooled astrologers in the past. But once Galileo came in with the telescopes, he had a different idea with how the shapes of the planets and the moon are. Mm-hmm. So we have it, and if you're not sure of the time, they're going to be posting this meteorologically on TV, and you'll be able to see the time, when it's best for viewing. But New York is it. We're right in the center here.
Yeah, you're lucky.
And
that's great, right?
it's an incredible thing. And if you think about it, when Kepler was around, he would monitor these eclipses, and the king would always say, well, what does that mean in the sky? There's a story. So Kepler came up with, look, you get those little peasants out there, and you tell them that you have a message from God, and you tell them that the sun is going to disappear. So Kepler and the king would go out there, the peasants are out there in the field, and it would grow darker. Now, if the king says, I have a message from God, the king would say, well, look, I got the message from God, so I'm God too. It's a power thing.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It was just all power. Even with the lunar eclipse, the full moon disappears. We can see it if we have a telescope, and I've seen it. It's unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. But power, king, astrology, it all started to come together. And Kepler had the measurements. He knew the exact coordination, how fast the moon would actually go past the sun. The king loved it. He said, you're hired. So, and besides all the other predictions he had.
Oh, of course.
When is the war going to start? When are we going to have peace? What's going to happen with my family? Kepler had a reading for everyone.
Well, of course, as an astrologer, my life has been with astrology. It's in my family too. I grew up with it. So, I have always found it to be extremely accurate, because it's also a science. It's an art, but it's a science.
It's a science that is, if you're teaching astronomy, the difference is you do not make predictions from these aspects. So the terminology. Well, you're an astrologer.
I do.
When I teach this, I can't say that.
No, I know that.
Even though the students say, "Oh, what's going on with my sign?" I can't say it.
No, of course not.
But that's where the split is. So Johann Kepler, he was a heavy hitter, Capricorn, like I said before, and he had those measurements, and he got along with the king at the time.
Well, we're having another eclipse right before that, too, March 25th. Not the tremendous impact of April the 8th, but we're having another one right before that I was talking about earlier in the monologue. And astrologically, this can really affect, especially the April 8th one, can really affect, because of that crisscross of the United States, it can affect a lot of things because it's in the sign of Aries and it has everything to do with independence, and there could be, just saying, it could be changes in leadership, not just within our, country, but with foreign lands and foreign affairs. And, but it's also about individually a person's independence they're going to find. And this is especially going to be affecting the sun sign and rising sign of Aries, and then it has an impact also on Libra, right? Libra rising, Libra sun sign. But the effects of this eclipse, we're going to be feeling it for up to 6 months. Actually, when you were talking about the eclipses and the kings and everything, what I find so interesting, and please, if you can, expand on this, many times that was a time, now this has nothing to do with our country, I'm not saying that, but back when, wasn't that many times the time of war?
Absolutely.
That would happen?
Well,
back then. Yeah.
Back then and even now, there are a few things going on now globally.
Yeah.
We're keeping it global.
Right.
And we're keeping the leadership global because...
Yeah, that's what we're saying.
And hopefully it will change. Hopefully a change for the better for everyone.
Yes, for the world. The thing is, though, let's face facts. The United States has a large impact on what's happening in the world. And this really can affect a lot of foreign affairs. And also, it's really a time of action globally and also individually. So say that there were, you were trying to come to a conclusion about something, come to an agreement about something. I feel that, that there's a very strong possibility that could happen.
Okay, well, we're going to see. Hopefully it'll be right on the money.
Well, that's what I'm
and
hoping
fast, and let's get it done.
Yeah, but a lot of important changes you're going to end up seeing. And also in reference to, this is just, what I see and feel astrologically. In reference to the stock market, I feel that it could, possibly start to come down during that period of time and then go back up again, but during that period of time. Yeah. So what else do you have to tell us about the eclipses? And the eclipse that we have behind Pat, right? Now, could you talk about?
Sure. The moon is not showing all of the sun. And this is called the diamond shape because
I find that interesting.
It hits at a certain point where the flares are, and it just hits where everything sparkles. It doesn't happen for a long time. If you catch it, there it is, and then it's gone because the moon keeps moving. So it's an interesting phenomena. Hopefully something like this will happen. Maybe we'll see it, and if anything, if it's a clear night, you will be able to see those solar flares, the photosphere, the coronosphere. It's there, and you can't see it unless the sun is blocked. So the outer part of the sun is shining.
That's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And Pat gave us a picture, too, of the eclipse. Brian, if you could put that up.
He has it. Well, that's the that's the tract.
Yes.
Absolutely, yes.
And then there was also one of a beautiful eclipse.
It was like an annular. It's called an annular eclipse, a partial eclipse. So if he has it,
I sent it to you, Brian. Don't worry about it. It's okay. Do you have the astrological chart that that I gave you that maybe you could just put up? Yeah, that's the one of the United States, and it's hard to really see, but if you there's a lot of astrologers that watch the show, and then what they do is they just go up and they take a snapshot. You know what I mean? Can we put up the other one, the one that's in color? There we go. Now that is actually where the stars are during the eclipse. This is at 2:21 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on April the 8th, and where all the planets are. And as you look at that, see how they're all grouped together? I mean, what we have here is the majority of them are in Pisces and Aries. And of course, it's the new moon of Aries. But, and then we have Jupiter and Uranus that are in the sign of Taurus. And then Pluto is out there in Aquarius. But there's stelliums that are going on here right now. Thank you so much, Brian.
And also
What?
that chart indicates there are conjunctions in space.
Exactly.
Okay, so how do you find something like this? The first thing you do is you have to imagine, think of where the sun comes up in the east, overhead, and then it sets in the west. That is called the apparent path of the sun. It's called the ecliptic. Once the sun goes down, all the planets that are visible will come up on that apparent path. So you have to imagine it now. Sun goes down, especially during a full moon. Once that moon goes down, civil twilight, it starts getting darker into nautical twilight. You'll be able to see the planets.
Yes.
And if the moon is out and some of the planets cluster near it, there's your conjunctions.
Yeah.
What does that mean, a conjunction? In astrology,
Right.
you have different aspects with their sign, but looking up into space and you can see these planets, that's what it's all about also.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I know. Believe me, I watch the planets. I have a telescope. I watch.
Okay.
It's beautiful. And the thing is, yeah, that makes it like real. It's one thing to see it on a chart.
That's right.
It's another thing. Oh my goodness, yes. But the conjunctions, as you're saying, well, when I had mentioned stelliums before, what that means is that there are 3 or more conjunct.
Yes.
Okay? And we are talking about major stelliums here. So if 2 planets are conjunct, that's a conjunction. But the stellium is when there are, 3 or more. And we're talking about stelliums in Pisces and Aries. A lot of energy going on there.
I agree with it. I just looking up at the sky and seeing and observing,
Yes.
you feel the energy. But when it's called like a bowl and it's tipped on one side on the left right
Yes.
now, right?
Yes.
These are making aspects to certain signs.
Yes, they are.
So it's a good time to get the chart done and see what's going on in your chart. But teaching astronomy, I know they're there, but I just can't talk about it too much.
I know. I understand. And, but all the information you've been giving us tonight, it's wonderful. I love to hear your perspective from it, because of the astronomy. It's absolutely wonderful. Is there, what else do you have there, Pat, to share with us?
I have a lot of things.
Good. Come on. Share it. I love the part when you were talking about the mythology.
I know. Well, that's a separate show. There's so much, especially with an eclipse coming up. I don't want to overshadow anything, and I just threw in the circumpolar constellations because I thought it was important.
It is, yeah.
But
people like to understand these things. Absolutely.
people want to know about retrograde.
Oh, But there's none this month. Hallelujah. But next month, we're into it again.
Okay, so what does it mean, though? The astrologers would say, by using their eye, they would say, well, gee, the planet looks like it's going backwards. And they did not realize if you're on Earth and you have a planet Mars, revolving around the sun, the planet appears to go backwards, retrograde. It's an illusion.
Yeah,
It's
total illusion.
the Earth passes orbiting planets such as Mars, and once you get out to the outer planets, we're not talking days like the inner planets. We're talking years. So once something is retrograde, if you're looking in the ephemeris, it's here in the ephemeris, you would be able to see by using the right ascension declination to see exactly where the planet is. That's how the astronomers look for the planets.
That's what I use also.
It's
with
handed.
astrology. I mean, you remember years ago, before there were any computer programs to create charts that could be just printed out like this. I mean, it would take me at least minimum a half an hour to put together everything with all the math, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an art in itself.
Yes, it is. Yes,
Math
it
is very important.
Yes, with the longitude, latitude, all of that, where the stars were at that particular time, at that longitude, latitude, where that person is, you know, at the time of their birth, and what's going on right then with the transits. So what it is, though, is that, you know, the planets do affect, they really do affect us, the energy from the planets. Because look at how the moon affects us, right? Aren't we 70% water?
Water in our body.
Yeah.
What about the tides?
Yeah.
The tides, because the tides and the moon, there's a pull, a gravity pull. And at certain times, there are tides where they're very high, and then at the other end of it, the next time, they're very low. So depending on where the moon is and the high tide and the storms, like Superstorm Sandy came in,
Yeah.
all right, what happened, that was some phenomena there, because people knew it was coming in. The meteorologists knew it. But what happened was, because it hit on the quadrant of where we are on Staten Island, the water became higher because of the wind coming in. And then what happened was, that was at low tide. At high tide, the wind was still blowing, so the tide rose. And that's how you got the storm surge here on Staten Island. It wasn't, people even today say to me, well, what about the tsunami that came in? It wasn't. It was storm surge, because that wind just kept dumping the water into New York City and the areas.
Oh, yeah. I live at the Jersey Shore.
That got hit too.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
a lot of people, you know, lost their lives.
Yes, they did, and their homes and their property, and yeah, well, yeah.
It's always good to listen. If a governor or a mayor says, look, just go to high ground. I don't know why people did not go up into the shelters. I filmed at the shelters at the Petrides, and they had a beautiful setup there. They had beds, blankets, pillows, and food. And it was warm inside, and you could bring the pet inside if you had to. And not a lot of people did that. I couldn't believe it. I saw maybe 20 people and at least 100 beds empty. So
Really?
it was incredible.
Wow.
They were afraid. They were afraid to lose their house, their possessions, and they left their cars down near Father Capodanno, and everything got submerged. They kept saying, because Ida came in the year before and missed us. It went right up to New York State, and they said, oh, Sandy will be the same thing.
No. No,
It happens.
it
You have to
wasn't.
listen. You know, if the mayor or the governor says, look, stay off the
Absolutely.
bridge,
That's right.
you have to.
There's a reason. There's a reason.
It's one of those reasons anyway.
Okay. What else do you have there?
Oh,
You
I
have so much information.
much. Let's see. Well, I mean, I went into the zodiac signs a little bit. Aries, the ram, okay? And again, the stories came out. Now, I can't spend too much time. Time's winding down.
I know. I'm watching the clock. Not to worry.
Associated with the Golden Fleece,
Yeah.
okay? Stories about the Golden Fleece. There are movies about it.
Right.
Taurus, we move on. And Aldebaran is your star. You know that. Aldebaran. Greek mythology. Transformation. Some of them transformed to Europa, which is one of the Galilean satellites. Okay, so all that's coming into play. Gemini, the two twins in Gemini, conversations, different points of view. Cancer, the crab. Okay, and again, that's associated with Hera, Hera, that killed Hercules. That was one of the big stories about that. Can't go into it. We don't have much time.
It's okay,
the
but even this
stories-
little bit is really nice. We'll have to
Hopefully.
do another show.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think
we'll
we need-
really get into it.
We need 2 hours.
I
think.
know. Oh.
We have Leo the lion, and again, Hercules, when he was alive, he killed one of the lions.
Yeah.
And that up in the heavens, if you're at a star party, Leo is when it's up there during the summer, it looks like a coat hanger. So the astronomers would say, "Look at the coat hanger. That's Leo. That's where the mane is." So that's one of the little stories. Virgo, the Virgin in Latin, and in mythology, Greek mythology, because you got to remember, it's Latin and Greek. The Latin astronomers and astrologers were both Latin and Greek because in Greece they had to flee. There were wars going on, so all the scientists flocked over to Rome, part of the Roman Empire. But a lot of the influences from Greece.
And
Also-
that's what I do, Pat. I do the Greek astrology. And yes, there's Vedic astrology also. Right. But I do the Greek astrology. The Vedic has more of the asteroids and everything that they go into. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's okay. So the Greek goddess
Yeah.
in Virgo, it's Virgo, okay, the Virgin, but it's the goddess of justice. So, they say in mythology it was the daughter of Zeus. So,
Interesting, right? Yeah.
and this is a splash of it.
I know. I love it.
Libra lies in the southern part of the sky, but when it's visible, we see the weighing of scales, okay, justice, and again, the Greek goddess of justice, her name was Dike, and she's visible there, and there's a whole story about her. Scorpio, and the scorpion, okay, Greek mythology, with the scorpion that killed Orion. And the story goes that Orion stepped on the scorpion, and that's it. Once you step on a scorpion, you know, when you're out west, you've been out west, you have to stay away from those scorpions.
Oh, yeah.
They bite.
Oh,
that's it.
yeah.
We're gone.
You know, and that's Orion's belt up there. Like, as a little kid, I remember my father, like, one of the first things him showing me was, and the Big Dipper,
Absolutely.
Little Dipper, and all that. So go ahead, because we're almost.
Okay, time is going by. Scorpio, okay, and Orion the hunter. Sagittarius, okay, the archer in Latin. Greek, the centaur, upper body human, the lower body, the legs of a horse. Okay? Again, that's Sagittarius. They have the arrows, and sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad.
This is very true.
Capricorn, okay, the goat, the she-goat, and they're represented, it looks like a goat, but the lower half of the goat is portrayed as a sea-goat. So, and it's associated with Pan. Pan was one of the gods up there, and there's stories about that also. Aquarius, okay, Aquarius associated, now that's the water bearer.
Yes.
Okay, but I have read that sometimes it's interpreted as the water bearer has the sands of time released in that barrel. And not too many people know about it, not too many people read about it, but in certain books, certain texts, they have the water bearer that has sands released in the ocean where their legs are, because that's where their streams are, and it rules the way they are with the ocean.
I like that very much. Yeah. So go ahead.
Pisces.
Okay, final sign.
Okay. Well, there's one more. Greek mythology, the fish, okay, Aphrodite and Arrow transformed in order to escape the monstrous typhoon. So there must have been, at the time, the astrologers saying the story of these great storms. Okay, one more, quick.
Go ahead.
Ophiuchus. Ophiuchus.
Oh, okay.
It's
Yes.
said that it's the 13th sign, but not to confuse the astrologers and time, it's sort of squeezed in near Sagittarius and Scorpio. And I was at one of the astrology guild, and what happened was at the time, the astrologers they knew that his foot was touching the, the zodiac belt, but one of the astrologers said, if you tilt Ophiuchus up, the snake bearer, you can actually see the whole constellation. And that amazed me because I never saw that in my life, and that was at the astrology
That's
guild.
cool.
So again, Apollo struggling with the snake that guarded the Oracle of Delphi, and there's a lot of powers. He's holding that serpent, and the powers of divination are there.
Can I just ask you before we run out of time, can you touch on the Seven Sisters,
Okay, so
please?
yes.
Thank you.
Okay, and again, it's a story.
Yeah,
Okay, and it's in.
I love it.
It's
I have a
from-
beautiful picture
Oh,
of the Seven Sisters.
it's nice.
Yeah.
From Japan, Subaru. Okay, so people that have a Subaru, you look at the logo in the back, it only shows 6 because they had to deviate a little bit. But those are the Seven Sisters that Orion and Taurus, near Taurus, that cluster is right there. There's a whole story on it.
It's a great story.
It's
Yeah.
well, you probably know more than me. I mean, I just look at it and it's
It
incredible.
amazes me. That's why I had to ask you to touch on that, Pat.
There were 7 sisters, though.
Yes,
and, the
there
story.
were. Yes, there were. And and you can see the Seven Sisters. Isn't that like right above Orion's belt? Am I wrong? Which direction?
It's
where? Because that's how you find it. You find the belt, and
Yes.
then you find.
You have to look for his shoulder. He's got the sword in one, or club in one hand, and his shield on the other. But it's close. It's close because Orion was a hunter. And at his feet was Sirius, the dog star. All right, and there's another set of stars
Okay, Bri. Thanks.
that are up there that are the not the major one, Sirius, but near Gemini, the Canis Minor. We have touched upon things, and I didn't even get started. I have a whole book on this.
I know. That's why we have to do another show. Really, you have to come back and see us again, and we can really, get into more. I love the mythology. People love the mythology, because so many people are unaware of it. There's a basis to all of this. But, I really want to thank you, Pat, for being on the show tonight. And Brian, how much time do we have? 1 minute.
1 minute.
One last thing. What would you like to say?
Well, the vernal equinox coming up, 19th to 20th, that's coming up. And also we have
Yes.
Easter, all the events coming up will be happening. By the time you see this, it'll be another show.
Yeah.
We will continue, hopefully.
So many, 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 many blessings to you. And by the time I see you again, it'll be after the Great American Eclipse. Many, many, many bright blessings. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you so much. Oh, yeah. Didn't he?
He's
He
good.
did so wonderful with all the pictures and everything. Yeah.
We'll touch upon the Seven Sisters next time.
Yeah, I really want to do that. I think that's pretty cool.
All
I'll
righty.
bring in my picture.
Absolutely. I'll bring in my car.
Okay. You're going to bring, you have a Subaru? Oh, okay.
But I'll drive one in.
Thanks a lot for watching the show. Okay. And any questions that you have, just at the end of the show is my email address. Just ask me the questions and I'll pass them on to Pat. Okay? Thank you so much. Many blessings. God bless.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you. That was very informative.
Thank you. I tried.